A reading from the Gospel according to Luke. When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem, and he sent messengers ahead of him. On their way, they entered a village of the Samaritans to make ready for him, but they did not receive him, because his face was set toward Jerusalem. When his disciples, James and John, saw it, they said, "Lord, do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them?" But he turned and rebuked them. And then they went on to another village. Everyone, when I hear this reading for today, I think of it as part of an ongoing story from the readings we heard yesterday and in the day to come. If you remember from the sermon yesterday, we heard in the story about how Jesus' disciples allowed themselves to get distracted and deviated from the work that they were being called to do because they saw other people doing works in Jesus' name. And when they ran to Jesus, distracted and wanting to deviate from their path, Jesus wouldn't let it happen. He stayed focused on where he was called to go. Likewise, today, some of his disciples are getting distracted and angry when they see the Samaritans not acting the way that they think they should act. And in their distraction and anxiety, they go to Jesus. But again, he won't deviate from the path he knows he's called to go on. Tomorrow, likewise, we'll hear the story about plowing the field. And when you're plowing the field, not to deviate left or right, not to stop, keep going on the path you are called to plow. What I hear in these stories is a story of family systems at work. A family systems theory created by psychologist Dr. Murray Bowen talked about how all families operate as a system of individuals, and all of us with our own anxieties, angers, sadness, frustration, happiness, passion. The anxieties tend to move around in the system. And if you allow your own self to be distracted or let it control how you react, that you can deviate from the path where you are called. Now, the Rabbi Edwin Friedman talks about how faith communities and congregations also function within systems of messy human people like us with our own anxieties and fears, hopes and dreams, disappointments and angers and passions, and how when the anxiety moves around in the system, again, it can lead you to distraction or deviating from the person that you feel God is calling you to be. What I see Jesus doing in this story is not deviating from the person who God has called him to be. Yes, Jesus is compassionate and attentive to the needs of others. He serves others. We see that time and time again. But even in the midst of being attentive to how others feel and what their needs are, what he doesn't let it do is he doesn't let it pull him away from the work that God has called him to. His face is set to Jerusalem, and he won't deviate from that. What I hear from that in our own lives is that we will always function in messy systems of human people, ourselves included. And there is always a temptation to let the anxieties or fears or angers of others pull on us and lead us to distraction. But don't forget who you are called to be by God. Don't forget that you are called to be someone who seeks justice, loves mercy, walks humbly with your God. Don't forget that you are called to seek and serve Christ in all people, loving your neighbor as yourself, and loving God with all your heart, with all your mind, all your soul. Let that be the thing where you set your face, and don't be distracted from it. Now, I know that's easier said than done. Practicing and being aware of family systems for many, many years, I still find it very easy to let the anxieties of other people pull me away and let me deviate from where I'm called to be. But I try to go back to that reminder. Who am I called to be? Who are you called to be by God? And even while you are being attentive to those around you and compassionate to those around you, don't forget that. Let this little reminder to us from Jesus about how he steadfastly remembers where he is called and who he is called to be. Let that be a reminder to us in the midst of functioning within systems and faith communities that you are called to be someone who follows God. Let this little reminder for us be a blessing to us today, tomorrow, and the days to come. Amen.